Hello, I'm Dow Bartling, and welcome to another Dow's Weekly Digest. America 250, hearing a lot about it. How are you celebrating? Are you committed? Let's look at the founding fathers. I'm going to go from maybe A to Z, but today we're going to go A to F. Have you ever noticed how history books make great men sound like they walked into a room with a trumpet playing? But they didn't. Most of the time, they probably look like men who hadn't got enough sleep, whose jackets maybe didn't fit quite right, and who knew those founding fathers, well, if things went south, they weren't going to be remembered as heroes. No, they were going to be remembered as traitors. Take John Adams. He believed independence was really decided on July the 2nd of 1776 and thought that was the day that indeed Americans would celebrate forever. He kind of missed that date, but not the moment. And then there's Button Gwinnett. You probably know Button. Remember that name? The poor fellow has one of the rarest signatures in American history. It's worth millions now, largely because there aren't that many of them around. Funny, isn't it? That a man can be ordinary in their own time and nearly priceless in another. I like Charles Carroll of Carleton. Charles Carroll of Carleton signed the Declaration of Independence just that way. He wanted to make sure that the British knew exactly which Charles Carleton they were looking for. No wiggle room, no hiding in the paperwork, no escape clause. Now, John Dickerson, you see, John refused to sign the Declaration, but he still supported the Revolution, funded troops, and later helped draft the Constitution. That tells us something important. Sometimes people can disagree on the method and still be committed. John was committed on the mission. Then there was William Ellery, who apparently studied people's handwriting and watched how they actually signed the Declaration of Independence. Imagine that. In the middle of history, a man is still noticing penmanship. That sounds almost funny until you realize that signatures meant something back then. A signature wasn't just identification, it was exposure. It was risk written in ink. And of course, we have Benjamin Franklin. He signed at age 70. 70! In a world that likes and worships youth, Franklin is still a standing reminder that wisdom and mileage still count for something, maybe more than ever. You know, we live in a time when people like to keep their options open. We want flexibility. We want deniability. We want a back door and some escape hatch and carefully worded sentence that lets us say that we were sort of involved. But the founding fathers who launched this country, they weren't sort of anythings. They were committed. Reminds me of a little story that Zig Ziglar tells of a object lesson for us when we have our breakfast. He says, think of this, of the difference between being committed and just involved. On a breakfast plate, the chicken was involved, but the pig was fully committed. Eggs and bacon. Zig also says this, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. I think the founding fathers would have added to this, Zig. They would have said, once you start, at some point, you have to sign your name. You have to decide what you stand for. You have to let your action become visible. That's true in business. It's true in leadership. It's true in family. And it's certainly true in faith and character. The world doesn't change because people are interested. They change because people are committed. And commitment mattered in 1776, and it still matters today. Here's where you stand in your journey from declaration to delivery. So here's the final lesson in this 4-part series. You don't have to be the oldest, the richest, the loudest, the first, or the most famous. You have to be willing to stand, willing to sign, willing to serve, willing to stay with the cause. And if enough people do that, whether it's in a new nation or a business campaign, you create momentum, and that outlives the moment. Commitment mattered in 1776, and it still matters today. Here's where you stand in your journey from declaration to delivery.